67 days. That's how long Russian sailor Mikhail Pichugin talked to dead bodies on a life raft, convinced they were answering back. When rescuers found him, he was having full conversations with people who weren't there. His brain did exactly what yours would do. Because here's the terrifying truth. Isolation doesn't just make you lonely, it hijacks your reality. In just 72 hours, I'm going to show you what happens when your mind has no one to talk to, the survival tricks that save some people while others completely break, and why this matters more than ever in our hyper-connected but deeply isolated world. But first, how long do you think you'd last in complete silence before your brain turned against you? Drop your honest guess in the comments, because what I'm about to show you will prove most of you are wrong. Your brain treats loneliness like a physical wound. Literally. UCLA scans show that social rejection activates the same pain centers as a broken bone. Why? For 200,000 years, alone meant dead. No tribe, no survival. Your ancestors who ignored loneliness became extinct. Here's how fast it happens. After just 72 hours of isolation, your rational decision-making brain starts shrinking its connections. It's like unplugging cables in a computer, except the computer is controlling your grip on reality. Scientists prove this with monkeys. Harry Harlow's pits of despair, total isolation chambers. Within days, these social animals stopped eating and started self-harming. After 30 days, they were permanently broken. Couldn't bond, couldn't play, couldn't function. Quick question for the comments. What's the longest you've been completely alone? No phone, no TV, no people. Most of you probably can't even think of a time, which makes what I'm about to show you even more shocking. Because prison systems thought humans were different, more resilient. They were about to discover how wrong they were. What they found in solitary confinement cells will make you never want to be alone again. 6 feet by 8 feet. That's smaller than most people's bathrooms. Now imagine living there for months, alone, with concrete walls and no human contact. Marcus, 25, not violent, just got in a fight. Day 7. He's doing push-ups, counting ceiling cracks. Day 15. He starts hearing conversations through walls that guards confirm never happened. Day 22. He's having full arguments with his dead father. 70% of isolated prisoners develop visual hallucinations. 80% hear voices that aren't there. It's like your brain becomes a radio that picks up phantom stations. Your brain needs social input like your body needs food. Starve it, and it starts cannibalizing itself, literally manufacturing fake relationships to survive. Pause and think. You probably haven't been alone for even one full day in years. Marcus was alone for 18 months. Drop in the comments, what would you do on day 1 to stay sane? Day 45. Marcus knows his father is dead, but has detailed conversations with him anyway. The rational part of his brain screams it's not real, but the isolated part doesn't care. It needs the connection. Release day. Marcus can't handle crowds, flinches at unexpected sounds, has panic attacks around people. 3 years later, he still can't maintain eye contact. 80,000 Americans are in solitary confinement right now. That's the population of a mid-sized city, all slowly losing their minds in boxes the size of your bathroom. But if prison isolation is hell, wait until you see what happens when people choose to be alone in the most isolated place on Earth and document their own mental breakdown in real time. Minus 80 degrees. 4 months of total darkness. The nearest human being is 1,000 miles away. Dr. Sarah Chun volunteered for this. Week 2. Chun stops noting specific dates in her research logs. When there's no sun, time becomes meaningless. Week 6. She starts writing her logs to Dear David, her brother back home. Then she begins arguing with David on paper. Week 12. Chun hears knocking on the station walls. She knows nothing could survive outside in minus 80 degrees, but the sounds are absolutely real to her brain. Here's the kicker. Chun is a trained psychologist. She knows what's happening to her mind, documents it in real time, and still can't stop it. Imagine your brain as a smartphone. Isolation is like cutting off all internet, GPS, and cell service. But the phone keeps trying to connect, eventually inventing fake signals just to function. Here's a terrifying thought. Chun had heating, food, communication equipment. Everything except human presence. What's the one thing you'd bring to keep your sanity? Comment below. NASA studies these cases obsessively. Because if Chun broke down after months on Earth with an escape route, what happens on a 3-year Mars mission with no way home? The answer comes from the most isolated humans in history, and it's worse than you think. Hawaiian volcano. 6 people locked in a dome for 1 full year, simulating Mars. No escape, no fresh air, no way out. Month 3. The crew works perfectly together. Month 6. Dr. Martinez stops joining group meals over scheduling disagreements. Month 9. Engineer Park obsessively rechecks working systems, convinced they're failing. Month 12. Martinez requests emergency extraction, describing constant buzzing anxiety around other people. Here's the mind bender. It's not just being alone that breaks you. It's being trapped with the same people for too long. Your brain starts treating familiar faces as threats. Imagine being locked in your house with your family for a year. No leaving, no privacy, no break. By month 6, your brain will be looking for reasons to avoid the people you love most. They call it displacement behavior. Your mind creates elaborate, rational-sounding reasons to isolate yourself from the very people you need for survival. Brutal question. If you were trapped with your closest friends for a year, which one would drive you insane first? Don't answer that. But you're thinking about it. But some people don't break. Some thrive in isolation. The survivors all share 3 specific mental techniques that you can learn. And these techniques don't just work in extreme isolation. They're protection against the loneliness epidemic happening right now in your city. Terry Anderson, chained to a wall for 7 years. When released, he was mentally sharp, psychologically stable, ready for normal life. His secret? 3 brain hacks that work like mental armor. Rigid routine. Anderson created an elaborate schedule. 6 a.m. mental exercises, 8 a.m. physical workout, 10 a.m. storytelling time. Never deviated. Ever. Why it works. Routine tricks your brain into feeling control, even when you have none. Active memory work. He spent hours reconstructing entire books word for word, replaying conversations from years ago, building detailed mental maps of places he'd been. Why it works. It maintains the neural pathways that isolation normally destroys. Strategic fantasy. Anderson held conversations with his daughter, his colleagues, historical figures, but he never let them replace real relationships. He treated them as practice for returning to real relationships. Quick challenge. If you could only replay one memory every day for a year to keep your sanity, what would it be? The survivors always have this answer ready. These aren't just survival techniques. They're daily practices that protect against modern loneliness. The same loneliness that's killing people faster than smoking. Surgeon General declared loneliness equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes daily. In cities of millions, surrounded by thousands of people, we're more isolated than Antarctic researchers. We have more communication technology than ever, yet we're lonelier than any generation in history. And the isolation is about to get worse, unless we do something radical. Remember Mikhail Pichugin, talking to corpses for 67 days? He survived because he never stopped talking to the dead, to the sky, to himself. He kept his social brain alive when there was no society. Isolation isn't about being physically alone. It's about losing connection with the parts of yourself that only exist in relationship with others. So here's your test. Next time you're alone for more than a few hours, try Anderson's techniques. Create a routine. Actively recall detailed memories. Practice conversations with people you care about. And drop a comment. What's your isolation survival plan? Because in our hyper-connected but deeply lonely world, we all need one. The mind that survives alone is the mind that never truly gives up on connection. Share this if it changed how you think about loneliness. Because understanding isolation might be the key to ending it.